Hi, this is your Swapnil Bhartiya. We are here in Paris at the Life Energy Summit, and today we have with us Pranav Myana, CEO of Amaterra Tech. Pranav, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
One of the reasons we are also talking today is because you received a scholarship through the Shuli Goodman Memorial Fund. So we, of course, will talk about that. But I want to start with your own journey. Tell us a bit about yourself and how and why you got interested with the energy sector.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm 19 years old and I'm the CEO and founder of Amaterra Tech. I got interested in energy last summer in around July when I visited India. I'm an American citizen, but my ancestry traces back to the small village in India, and I learned about this tragedy that they had experienced in the 2000s. So the main industry there is power loom weaving, which requires a lot of energy to run. But in this tragedy, the government and the energy providers weren't able to bring energy to my community. So a lot of the people there weren't able to work. And this led them to go into really deep debts. And that resulted in, socioeconomic catastrophe, which made hundreds of people die within just a few years. And that kind of made me realize that energy was the basis for everything. I was 18 years old back then, and what I thought was if I kind of dedicated my entire life to solving the problem and making sure everybody on Earth had access to clean, stable, and low-cost energy, I might be able to do something about it. So I started my company.
So what does Amaterra Tech actually do? Can you talk about options? Yeah.
So we build microgrids, which are smaller, localized versions of the power grid. What we say is if the power grid was a car, we would build the blueprint, we would source the materials, and we would implement the self-driving program on the car. So specifically, we work with hybrid AC-DC microgrids and building them, and we work with manufacturers to implement the hardware. So one thing that's really great about the technology we use is we found that hybrid AC-DC microgrids combined with our technology can make installing energy capacity over 30% cheaper and also transmission over 15% cheaper. Because when you think about it, solar panels and fuel cells, they produce DC power, and our phones and our laptops, they use DC power. So the current model we have is we're producing DC power and we're converting that to AC to feed into the grid and then back to DC to power our devices. So there's lots of efficiency lost in that. So we're really looking into kind of making that DC infrastructure operate well, and also connecting that with an AC infrastructure so we could help the people we serve sell energy back to the grid, like sell their excess energy. And also, wind turbines and hydropower, they operate with AC power. So we kind of can keep that efficiency still going. We can keep that AC infrastructure. So taking both AC and DC and optimizing both, we found that can have an incredible impact on the energy grid.
You're talking about initially the reasons that led to Amaterra Tech, or your interest in energy was India. When you visited there. When we look at electric sector, we are here in Europe. While a lot of European companies, RT, Alliander, they are leading this whole open source movement around transforming, the whole energy sector. We tend to think that, hey, these models can be implemented everywhere. But the fact is that every country has its own totally different approach and totally different, So when you talk about the case of India and when you look at some of the pioneers in the Europe, can these models be brought to those countries, or it's really very complicated, very complex field actually?
I think that kind of goes into a huge problem that we have in the energy sector, which is, I was asked recently, what's the secret to our company? What do we know that everybody else doesn't know? And what I said was, we know how to listen. That doesn't sound like a secret, but if you kind of looked at the sector, you might think it was. And you really need to understand that all these countries and even within countries, different communities have different wants and needs. and you have to be able to hear them out and optimize your solution for those specific countries and specific communities. So it's really important not to kind of be stuck in your ways and stuck in the way you've been doing something. You have to realize that you have to work and make sure you please your community and please the customer and make sure that they're happy with your solution. You can't force a solution onto them. You have to work with them to find what works best, especially with something so integral and foundational as energy. You really have to go on the ground, meet with them in person, and find out what their real wants and needs are. So I think it's possible, but we definitely need a different approach. We need an approach where we listen more and talk less.
Now let's go back to you once again, especially about this scholarship. How do you learn about it, and what made you apply for it?
Yeah, so Ben Gerber, the CEO of Emirates, is an incredible mentor for me. And he was one of the people helping set up this event. So he told me to apply, and I immediately did because he's just been an amazing resource and an amazing teacher for me getting into this energy space, which is really hard for a kind of younger person to get into. There's a lot of terms that that I didn't understand before, and there's a lot of other like intricacies and a lot of regulatory and all these kind of sectors that come together. It's a very complex field, but having him as a mentor really helped me on my journey. So when he told me to apply for the scholarship, I immediately did so.
Can you talk more about the scholarship? What is it all about, and what do you get through that?
Yeah, so the scholarship is named after Shuli Goodman, who set up LF Energy and sadly passed away this year. And it gives $2,500 to people who want to attend this summit, young professionals and students. And it gives them money for the plane ticket and accommodation, and really makes money not prohibit young people and people who want to learn more and do more within the energy industry. It helps them kind of get involved. And I think it's just a great resource because something I've really noticed is the best ideas come from everywhere. And the scholarship kind of provides that equity and provides that chance for people of all different backgrounds to get involved in this industry. And I think it's really special that LF Energy set up a way for any young and passionate person to get involved, and a way for people who didn't maybe have the resources to get involved. It gave them the opportunity to do so. So I'm just so thankful for them for that.
How has been your experience so far meeting folks here? Any anecdote that you can share, after meeting these folks here?
I'd say it's definitely been a really great experience. People here are really open to listening and hearing out your ideas. I'd say something that I thought was really interesting was the Future Way talk, where they kind of put a cost on personal computing, and it put a social cost on using the different kind of coding languages. So it really helped people kind of visualize what they were doing to the environment and to the world. And I thought the way that this conference has been able to translate these kind of esoteric statistics into actionable items and things that people can see and easily visualize has been really enlightening.
Pranav, thank you so much for taking time out today and share your stories, your journey with us. And I look forward to chat with you again. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.